Good evening and welcome to the National News Broadcast. We're going to bring you the top stories from home and around the world. I'm Natalia Veeravardhan.
A very good evening. I'm Lakshita Singha. We start off by taking a look at the headlines for tonight.
Election propaganda activities and meetings will be banned from midnight tonight. Attorney-at-law Shiral Laktilaka says that the document presented by Gotabaya Rajapaksa and his attorneys-at-law is not the final document of withdrawal of US citizenship. Sajid Premadasa pledges to change the existing political culture. Basil Rajapaksa says that Saindamardu will be given a municipal council under presidency of Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The JVP says that certain groups who wear patriotic clothing today were the ones who sold the country to multinational companies during their tenure.
And now on the top story for tonight, Chairman of the Election Commission Mahinda Deshapriya has clarified on the documents presented to the Election Commission over the dual citizenship of Gotabaya Rajapaksa. He was addressing a media briefing at the Department of Government Information today. Chairman of the Election Commission Mahinda Deshapriya said that they have been shown a certification regarding the withdrawal of dual citizenship of Gotabaya Rajapaksa. He also said that nobody has stated whether the document was authentic or not, or whether it is acceptable or unacceptable. The chairman of the Election Commission said that their opinion is that they are not interested. He also said that they are bound to either accept or reject nominations of a candidate based on the fact of whether the nomination is compatible with the clauses of the Act. Dual citizenship is not a reason to reject nominations. There is no clause in the Act to reject nominations based on dual citizenship.
නැත්තම් පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙක්ගේ නෙවෙයි නම් අපේක්ෂකයාගේ ලේකම්ගේ නැත්තම් නාම යෝජනා කරුගේ අස්සන් නැත්තම් ඒ වගේ සිද්ධීන් කීපයකට විතරයි ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කිරීමට හේතුවක් නෙවෙයි දිත්තපුරාසිභාවය කියන එක ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කිරීමට හේතුවක්.
He made these remarks at a media briefing at the Department of Information today. Chairman of the Election Commission Mahinda Deshapriya further said that engaging in election propaganda activities will be banned from midnight tonight. The chairman also said that conducting of election offices will also be banned from midnight tonight. Chairman of the Election Commission Mahinda Deshapriya added that if there are any disputes in the regard, they should be sorted out in a court of law. The chairman further said that they are not concerned with the document presented by Ali Sabri. He also said that judiciary is above them and the people are above the judiciary. Chairman of the Election Commission also said that election offices could not be conducted after midnight tonight. All election offices of the electorate level are unable to function after midnight tonight. He added that cutouts of election offices on the rural level will have to be removed. These offices will have to cease functioning by morning day after tomorrow. The chairman further said that all election offices within a distance of 500 meters from polling booths will have to be removed. The election propaganda boards will have to be withdrawn. Director General of Government Information Nalaka Kaluwewa says that the Department of Government Information has taken measures to bring the election results over YouTube and Facebook as well. Director General of Government Information Nalaka Kaluwewa said that as soon as they received election results, they will be released via PDF format through email to all media from the election office. He added that for the first time, the Department of Information will conduct a live broadcast of results over YouTube and Facebook.
Meanwhile, Deputy Elections Commissioner S. Achudan says that the forthcoming presidential election will be a unique electoral process. He further says that the ballot paper will be over 2 feet and cardboard ballot boxes will be utilized for the first time in the history of elections in the country. He made these observations during an exclusive interview with the national television.
Number of candidates is 35. Because of the ballot paper size is very long. Very first time in the history this much of long ballot paper we are handling for the president election. It is 24 inches, that means 2 feet. Our election commission is traditionally trademarked with the wooden ballot boxes we used for a long time. But this time, because of this ballot paper size is very long, then wooden boxes are not enough. So we introducing the cardboard boxes for this time in 3 sizes, the small, medium and the large size cardboard boxes. For instance, the large size cardboard box actually contain more than 1600 to 2000 words. And also another problem we have with that, after casting all these 2000 words, the cardboard box weight is going to be 18 kilos. So again, our poll station, our staffs will have difficulties to handle the matter. Previous all the election we used wooden boxes, and sometimes we introduced small plastic boxes also. This is the very first instance we are using cardboard boxes for the election. For the previous all the election, we don't have such a long lengthy ballot paper, so this time it's very lengthy. So this is definitely affect the counting process also. Usually, the ballot paper may fold 2 or 4 folding, but this time definitely it's going to be 8 because it's very length one. So unfold that one is a big process, so that is take more time, and they have to handle the ballot paper without damage while unfolding because lengthy one. That is one. So then usually in the counting what we are doing is, first of all we do the box count and put 50 bundles. So once we put the rubber band in the one edge in the 50, then other will comes, because this is folded one, right? This time we plan to use some wooden small wooden piece sticks to keep it straight, right? So it's very interesting. This is going to be the counting, but it takes more time.
5 EU parliamentarians have joined the EU Election Observer Mission deployed to Sri Lanka to observe the 2019 presidential election. The Chief Observer of the European Union Election Observer Mission, Marisa Matias, launched the latest phase of the mission today. 30 short-term observers and 5 members of the European Parliament joined the observers on the field carrying out election observation work in the country. In response to an invitation by the Election Commission, the European Union deployed an EU election observation mission to Sri Lanka to observe the presidential election. The election observation mission core team of 9 EU election analysts and 30 long-term observers arrived into the country and will remain until the completion of the electoral process. Shortly after the election day, the mission will issue a preliminary statement. The final report, including recommendations for future electoral processes, will be presented at a later stage. Chief Observer of the European Union Election Observation Mission, Marisa Matias, made these remarks while addressing a media briefing held in Colombo today.
I think everybody's good.
Today we are launching the latest phase of the mission. We are deploying 30 short-term observers across the country for observating on and just beyond the election day. This includes, of course, the voting and the vote counting stage. These observers will join the long-term observers, the 30 we have already in all the 9 provinces and 25 administrative districts. So they will bring our mission strength to more than 80 observers and come from 25 out 28 member states of the European Union. We are here because we have been invited. We don't come to observe if we are not invited to observation. So our mandate is to provide a comprehensive and long-term technical assessment of the whole electoral process in compliance with our principles, which are independence, which are neutrality, non-interference and impartiality. After the election, we will present a preliminary statement and you are all invited to it.
The chief EU observer also made these observations while speaking to the national television.
A body which is always in touch with the local authorities, and that's how we will proceed. As for the country in general, we will not comment. As I said, we are an independent mission. We will not interfere. For sure, we are here to observe the process, the entire process, and we will do it according to our mandate. So we will not comment on anything which has nothing to do with the process and our capacity as observers.
Now, co-convener of the Centre for Monitoring Election Violence, Dr. Pakesoti Sarvanamuttu, says that the winning presidential candidate can be prevented from taking office for not declaring assets and liabilities by the Election Commission. He made these observations in an exclusive interview with the national television.
It's absolutely phenomenal. It's running into millions and millions, and this is sort of hundreds of millions. And so we really need to sit down and take a decision about putting a cap on this. is the state going to fund these elections? You know, something along those lines. We need to have proper legislation that will regulate campaign finance. I think the key point here is this, is that if candidates want to spend huge amounts of money on their campaigns, they must be completely transparent in terms of where they get the finance and how much they get. Then let the people decide when they go to the ballot boxes as to whether this candidate is a creature of his funders or as to whether they're going to be able to maintain their independence and integrity. So what we have to decide on is therefore whether we are going to cap the amount of money that can be spent, or are we going to say, look, we need total transparency in terms of how much money is being spent. I think the tale, if you like, about election monitoring is that the more developed the monitoring gets, the more developed the perpetrators of violence or misappropriation or lawbreakers also get. So I don't think there's an easy answer to that. We have to rely on the commitment to transparency and accountability on the part of the politicians so that they will come out in the open and say, yes, up to this point, X amount of funds have been received from Y funders, and let the people decide. There are powers that are given to the Election Commission if they haven't given in the assets declaration in time, and those powers are quite severe. I mean, they can be prevented from taking office, for example.
He also briefed on the pre- and post-monitoring mechanisms of the CMEV in the forthcoming presidential election.
The Centre for Monitoring Election Violence is recognized by the Election Commission as one of the two major national election monitoring organizations. And so what we do is that we put someone into every polling division during the course of the campaign, and they report to provincial coordinators at headquarters in Colombo. So what they find in terms of incidents of violence and malpractice, etc., what they cannot verify, they send across to us, and then we verify the information and put it out. Now, the reason why we put it out is, and why we also name and shame individuals as much as possible, is that we believe that acts of violence are individual decisions by people, and that the electorate needs to have all this information at its disposal when it makes a choice. On election day, we will decide on where the areas are which are going to be vulnerable and put in about 50 stationary observers to help the general monitoring exercise. So in effect, we'll have about 5,000 people in the field on election day. We will monitor, we will monitor for a period of time, probably about 2 weeks, because there is always the possibility of post-election violence, etc. In addition to that, I must say that we this time are monitoring the media for reportage of hate speech, that kind of thing, as well as trying to monitor the expenses of the candidates as far as the election is concerned.
Attorney at Law Shira Laktilaka says that the documents presented by the lawyers of Gotabaya Rajapaksa over the renunciation of the US citizenship are not the final documentation of the process. He made these remarks while giving an exclusive interview to the national television today. Many controversies have been surfaced over the citizenship of the presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, in the recent past. Addressing a media briefing recently, President's Counsel Ali Sabri claimed that the SLPP presidential candidate has legally renounced his citizenship of the United States.
Certificate of the oath, which is 17th of April 2019. Embossed seal is here, the original one, and I also have the original of the certificate of loss of nationality. With this, he loses the nationality. Here you can see in the cage on your right, State Department has approved it. This is also embossed, the original one. So there is absolutely no truth, absolutely no doubt that Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa had properly, and in terms of the law, had renounced his citizenship. He is a Sri Lankan citizen and only a Sri Lankan citizen.
In response, Attorney at Law Shira Laktilaka made these observations in an exclusive interview with the national television.
There is a controversy over the nomination of Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who is the SLPP candidate, where opposing political parties as well as general public is asking whether Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa is properly constituted candidate in the light of Sri Lankan law. What I have to say is still it is a doubt whether he has obtained Sri Lankan citizenship through the immigration laws. Mr. Gotabaya's stand is he has relinquished his citizenship from United States of America. But we know very well that third quarter report of the Federal Registry, which contains the names of people who have relinquished, his name is not in that registry. So therefore, we have to assume that his citizenship of America has not been relinquished. But against that, the lawyers of the Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa says he has made an application to the Sri Lankan Embassy of the United States of America somewhere in May, April, and the application of relinquishment is accepted in May 2019. If that's so, his name should be included into the Federal Registry third quarter. Unfortunately, his name is not there. So therefore, there is a natural and rational doubt. If you look at the immigration laws of Sri Lanka, anybody who had this dual citizenship and he has given up one citizenship, he has to apply for Sri Lankan citizenship afresh. That is what our law says. Then the question we have to ask whether Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa has applied to the controller of immigration to obtain Sri Lankan citizenship. So far, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa's lawyers as well as other sources have not revealed that they have applied for such a citizenship. In such a context, it is a doubt where we are creating and we have to answer that whether the candidate is a Sri Lankan citizen.
Now the fast commenced by Venerable Dr. Inguruwatte Sumangalathera demanding to establish the abolishing of American citizenship of Gotabaya Rajapaksa has taken place today as well. The Venerable Thera is engaged in the fast for the fourth day today, refusing medical treatment. Venerable Dr. Inguruwatte Sumangalathera has been engaged in the fast since last Sunday. He has arrived at the Independence Square premises around 9:30 a.m. on this day and commenced the fast, requesting to submit any acceptable document to prove the withdrawal of U.S. citizenship of Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Police security has been provided around the Independence Square premises where the fast is being conducted.
Presidential candidate of the New Democratic Front, Sajith Premadasa, says that a new era that brings relief to the common masses by changing the existing political culture will be unleashed. He was addressing a public rally in Monaragala today. Presidential candidate of the New Democratic Front, Sajith Premadasa, said that their rivals are questioning whether Sajith Premadasa has only politics based on promises. They are also asking how he is going to find money to fulfill these promises. Sajith Premadasa said that he wants to ask his rivals how they found money to construct the Lotus Tower and the Lotus Pond. He has asked what is more important is building Lotus Towers or ponds or to provide 2 sets of official uniforms, midday meals and a pair of shoes to around 4.4 million school children. He also said that Pohottuwa Party has constructed a massive presidential mansion with a swimming pool in Jaffna. He added that they have funds to provide fertilizer free of charge. He further said that wasteful expenditure in institutions will be stopped. Sajith Premadasa also said that vehicle permits will not be given from president to the official of the lowest rank. The money saved in the connection will be utilized for the development of the country.
අගමැතිවරයාගේ ඉඳලා පහළ දක්වා වාහන පර්මිට් දෙන්නේ නැත. ඒවෙන් ඉතුරු වෙන සල්ලි ටික ඔක්කොම අපේ මාතෘ භූමියේ සංවර්ධනයට යොදවනවා.
Another public rally to consolidate the victory of Sajid Premadasa was held in Galle town today. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said that we must not forget the fact that Mahinda Rajapaksa and Gotabaya Rajapaksa had unleashed a reign of terror that in the 5 years after the end of the war. He said that they were living in fear and asked whether we wanted to go back to that era. The Prime Minister further said that they have unleashed a new period after 8th January and that they have eliminated fear and white van culture. He also said that during the 5 years they ruled the country 3,000 processions and fasts. However, not a single person was shot to death and not a single person died in a fast. The Prime Minister further said that he wanted to ask whether the country should be handed over to Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who created an era of fear, or to Sajid Premadasa, who would bring an era of freedom. He added that the people should take a decision in this regard on the 16th of November. Another public rally to establish victory of Sajid Premadasa was held in front of the Valigama Trade Complex.
Meanwhile, another public rally under leadership of the presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, was held in Hambantota today. Presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, said that it is necessary to enrich the farmer in order to make the country self-sufficient. He added that they will carry forward the program in this connection. The presidential candidate further says that in similar manner they will develop the fishing industry. The SLPP presidential candidate further said that it is not acceptable to import fish when there is an ocean around the country. He further said that the freshwater fishing industry also needs to be developed. Gotabaya Rajapaksa also said that all sectors in the economy will be upgraded in order to resolve the employment problems of the sons and daughters of the country. He also said that the tea, coconut and rubber industries as well as export crops such as pepper all remain in a collapsed state today. Gotabaya Rajapaksa added that special attention has been focused through their election manifesto to generate more entrepreneurs and to provide some sort of relief to all affected sectors until the restoration of the economy.
Leader of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna and presidential candidate Anura Kumara Dissanayaka says that certain groups who cover themselves today with patriotic clothing were the ones who sold the country to American multinational companies during their regime. He was addressing the 30th Il Mahaviru Samaruwa commemorating ceremony in Galle. Paying of floral tributes and lighting of lamps in memory of the Il Maha heroes have taken place on this occasion. A group of members of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, including JVP Leader and presidential candidate Anura Kumara Dissanayaka and Party Secretary Tilwin Silva, took part in this event. Leader of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, Anura Kumara Dissanayaka, said that the task performed and the determination of their Il Maha heroes are always entrenched in their minds. He further said that the era of today is confronted with more grave crises than during the era of the Il Maha heroes. The most crucial economic centers of the country have been taken over by foreigners. Anura Kumara Dissanayaka also said that the American forces have landed on the country by air, sea and across surface routes. He said that he has also recalled that during the Rajapaksa regime in 2007, the country's infrastructure facilities were handed over to the foreigners through an agreement. The handing over of most important national resources to multinational companies and foreign powers has been completed. He added that the Rajapaksa regime has handed over many lands of the country to American companies. They have sold the national resources of the country through harmful agreements. Today they are talking about patriotism. The JVP leader and presidential candidate also said that today they are compelled to launch a more aggressive campaign than in the past to vigorously carry forward the struggle for independence. Anura Kumara Dissanayake added that the administration prior to the year 2015 had marched towards dictatorship by bombing media institutions, killing and abducting media personnel and shooting at protest campaigns on justifiable demands. He further said that if we are able to derive inspiration of the courage and determination of the gallant heroes who laid down their lives in the 1988-89 era, they would definitely be able to gain victory.
Now, parliamentarian M.A. Sumandiran says that he strongly condemns a news item published in several Sinhala newspapers today that Sinhalese could be defeated only by voting for Sajith. The parliamentarian says that this is a totally false statement and that he has complained in this regard to the Election Commission and the police. Tamil National Alliance MP M.A. Sumandiran further said that legal action will be taken against the relevant printed media. Tamil National Alliance MP M.A. Sumandiran said that he regrets over the false statements published in Maubima and Ceylon Today newspapers of today, as well as in the Deranaruna newspaper of yesterday. He further said that he has never stated anywhere that Sajith Premadasa should be voted into power in order to defeat the Sinhala people. He added that he has complained to the police and the Election Commission over this false statement. Sumandiran further said that legal action will be taken against all the three newspapers.
The Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation is all set to telecast precise and accurate results of the presidential election instantly as received. Stay tuned with the national television. Presidential Election 2019. We bring you the live telecast of the results.
With analysis from previous presidential elections.
Tune in to the national television.
For precise, accurate results.
From the 16th of November, 5 p.m. onwards.
In more local stories, President Maithripala Sirisena has presided over a ceremony to hand over financial aid for the development of viharas with shortcomings in the island today. The event has taken place at the President's office. Financial assistance has been provided to 11 viharasthanas under the Buddhist Revival Fund. The fund has been established in the year 2016 on a concept of the President. Initially, the President has taken measures to resolve land disputes in the viharasthanas by offering puja deeds to the relevant religious institutions.
Former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga says that the forthcoming presidential election will determine the future of the country for the next 50 years. She adds that future of the country should be handed over to a youth leader. The former president was addressing a meeting organized by the Organisation to Protect the Sri Lanka Freedom Party in Kurunegala. A gathering including district and electorate organisers of the organisation has also attended the event. Former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga said that the forthcoming election will be a crucial moment that would change the entire history of the country for the next 50 years. She further said that any one of the two main candidates would win the vote by an extremely small margin. She has recalled that Mahinda Rajapaksa won the presidential election of 2005 by a margin of only 35,000 votes. Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga further said that if Gotabaya Rajapaksa becomes president, his brother will be a prime minister and the big brother will be the speaker and the boys will become the ministers. The other brother will become the Minister of Finance. She further said that voting for the UNP for her is not a fully satisfactory decision, but under the circumstances she was compelled to do so. She has also expressed hope that the country would be saved at the last moment.
Meanwhile, former Minister Basil Rajapaksa says if Gotabaya Rajapaksa becomes the president, his first task would be to provide a municipal council for Sainda Mardu. He made these remarks addressing a presidential propaganda rally in Saindamardu yesterday. Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa said that a delegation has arrived with the head priest of the Juma Mosque. He added that what they had wanted was to leave the premises after handing them over a document. Basil Rajapaksa said that, however, they have decided to definitely guarantee their request through a memorandum of understanding. Accordingly, he said that the first task of Gotabaya Rajapaksa after emerging victorious on the 16th is to hand over a municipal council to Saindamardu. Basil Rajapaksa further requested the group to instruct the relevant parties to provide him an invitation to attend the foundation stone laying ceremony of the new municipal council. And that's all the stories we have for you tonight. We'll see you tomorrow at the very same time. Good night.